gearing up, but do you want to go ahead and do the pledge?
We stand.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's just it's a delay.
Make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Follow up on ordinance violations?
We have, one residence yet needs to remove tires. And one that needs to remove a trailer that's inoperable and inflated. The one that had the weed issues been somewhat resolved with the snow. We tagged a abandoned vehicle, which was taken care of with a 72-hour tag, and then we had another separate issue of vehicle maintenance, 72-hour tag on Front Street at 102 Western. That was now a nephew who was recently released from prison, working on the car. So I stopped one day on my way home from work when I saw him and working on the car, gave him the information about working on the vehicles. And so I think I haven't seen it since, so hopefully that's resolved.
Well, I haven't seen that in this year. Are you doing on your side?
Not since we thought doing. It's been in the driveways.
Sewer rate increase, second reading.
Yes, so I have that here. We didn't put an effective date on the last reading, so I didn't know if we needed to put that as January 1 for this reading.
Yes, they're going to effect.
Okay. Then that has already been signed then.
Salary ordinance.
And you still have to do a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Motion to suspend rules and pass on second reading.
Make a motion that we approve, rules of the ordinance number 2025-05 on second reading. Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Here is the salary ordinance.
Twenty 2026 holiday schedule.
You have to do a motion on the salary ordinance.
I'll make a motion for ordinance 2025-06 and approve the 2026 wage and salary. Second.
All in favor?
It's the holiday schedule.
That hasn't changed. It's the same format as the previous years.
Yep, just the dates have changed.
That hasn't changed. The previous years.
Yeah, just the dates have changed.
You need to do a motion on the
You need to
holiday schedule.
approve the holiday. Make a motion that we approve the Rome City paid out of 2026. Sorry.
All in favor? Have insurance coverage for 2026. Your agreement?
Yeah, we do.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect, perfect. Well, thank you for taking time in your meeting. What we did this year was, in the past, we went out and took bids for our other carriers. We actually reached out to Travelers, Liberty Mutual, EMC, Selective, Trident, who you currently have, which is your incumbent in HCC. Liberty Mutual has a higher deductible. They're doing about $100,000 deductible. We are larger volumes, so I didn't even know that or happen. We were just Travelers in the past. So they love kind of pricing themselves out of the market. So, Travelers, really their sweet spot is 100,000 in premium. They don't let municipalities like we have a county with Travelers, but they just declined to quote. Just a good thing. We don't want to get to 100,000, right? Selective decided not to quote, I believe, based
Correct.
off of small history. So EMC is another carrier that I've used in the past. We have Bella with EMC as an example. They're just not taking new business right now. So HCC and Trident were the two that came to the table. Trident's your expiring. In HCC, we actually have Alvin at HCC. And also Milk County Public Library, club, small municipalities. So what I presented here is Trident's renewal, which is your commercial package. So the commercial package will pick up general liability, your public officials, for you all, law enforcement, employment practices, the property, and the auto. So that's really the policy. You'll see I did a coverage comparison between Trident and HCC. Couple more big differences between the two is on aggregate limits. So you have the occurrence limit at $1 million per policy, $1 million per occurrence. Trident has a $3 million aggregate, meaning in a 12-month period or no policy period, they'll pay $3 million. You can have every $1 million claim in that situation. What HCC does, they cap it at $1 million occurrence, $1 million for the aggregate, and they put what's called an excess policy on top of it, $5 million excess umbrella. They put a $5 million excess on the top of each line of liability. They do what's called a silo coverage. So normally what you'll see on excess policies is, I would say law enforcement, you got public officials, you got your general liability. It will eat into that $5 million limit, but a $5 million aggregate limit for all lines. But HCC is $5 million silo, so you have $5 million. You have $1 million, say law enforcement, $1 million plus another $5 million later, so you have $6 million in coverage. And they silo everything, so there's actually more than there. That's the biggest difference that we saw actually we tried it at HCC. They're picking up HCC is picking up uninsured motorists on your vehicles. A lot of that will get picked up under work comp. Your work comp through IPA, but they are picking that up. So you can see on our cost comparison, there's about $15,000 today. We're picking up $15,000 difference when you're working from the Trident to see. So all things being equal, recommending that you all move to HCC to cap that cost savings and actually be less than your expiring, about $5,000 less than your expiring. Got that through cost and actually a lot of information about you on the package. That's the commercial package. The other policy that we have that's coming up for renewal is your accident and sickness for your police reserves.
Yeah.
So under our workers' compensation policy, which averages in the summer, under your workers' compensation policy for employees, you have two parts of that work comp. You have your medical, employee gets hurt, then you have loss of wage. Well, for the police reserves, say they're working at you can say if they get hurt as a reserve, the ends up very generous to his employees, but there's not work comp for that. With BZ wouldn't have workers' compensation to compensate reserves for their loss of wage. That's where that accident policy comes in, to pick up those loss of wages for their loss.
So essentially it's the protection for the reserve.
And even state statute says these reserves fired, you're required to carry that line. There are very few companies, actually, I think BFIS kind of has that market.
I haven't heard of anybody covering it.
They're very different. I think you had that policy before.
Yeah, it's not been super long.
Yeah, about 6-7 years ago, when they changed the statute to require companies, they had fire for years.
Yeah.
And then go home with 5-6 years. So by the time I was 10 years. But that's that accident decision. The other line of coverage is cyber, your cyber liability, and we have our equipment breakdown, which state. The other line of coverage is cyber liability.
Are we in agreement to go with HCC?
Yeah. From what I saw, I don't have any question. Another question I do have is on the loss runs. Obviously, you said the company did not want to quotas. That's more so for, what were those? You know, what those were? The losses we
I can send it.
Okay, if you would. I just want to make sure we're managing
It
that.
was the wreck, I would say.
Yeah, it was probably the two accidents.
If we were to-
Travis's wreck. The two accidents would be my guess. I don't think we've had the two accidents. I don't think we've had any other claims outside of those.
We're a lot of big, right now. I mean, it used to be property. Property's kind of leveled out a little bit. But that's the next line. Yeah, commercial auto. The excess, the umbrella, that's getting tighter too. On what companies are actually offering. That's from the personal lines umbrella. I'll do a lot on that. And also I know the work comp isn't. Yeah, but I'll pull also.
Okay.
That's great, thank you.
And on cyber, how much does that cover? And that also too protects, allows us to send, takes care of all the information we're gonna send to all people that download our customers.
Cyber really picked up in the last few years. That was a hot topic here a few years ago. Picks up not only cyber liability, but also the extortion side of it. And that's what we're seeing more claims on extortion. 10 years ago, we couldn't even get coverage. There was no such thing as cyber, people were-
Auburn just got cyber attacked.
I'm sorry.
Auburn was DeKalb County, Auburn. Just cyber attacked, I don't know, a month or two ago.
Yeah. Biggest big benefit of that is they assign it to, the key is to find it quick, right? And then we get it turned in, and then they get somebody who's like a forensic team on that thing right away. And then they decide, they figure out, okay, it's a better, unfortunately,
Okay.
effect.
Yeah.
And that's just the nature of better employees.
So they can keep doing it, because they keep making money on it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Why do we keep paying?
It's kind of like when you settle out, when people sue the police department and they've done nothing wrong. Don't get me started on that.
Everybody gets pulled in,
Oh, yeah.
deal with. See those court claims come in. The city's on it, Noble County's on it, City of Kendall's on it, and we're turning in like claims for everybody. And then they let them figure it out.
Okay, motion to approve. Private.
No, for HCC.
Yeah, HCC.
Have you ever looked at, and maybe we're too small to do this, but the town, and candidates?
Yeah, your premium isn't quite there.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Because the ones that we're involved in, that were, yeah, upfront investment too.
Yeah, there's a lot upfront with the capital market.
Okay.
That's a good question. Yeah, we're seeing more of it, especially for those
Mitigate.
entities to mitigate your risk and some of the harder to replace risk can go into a captive the pricing for you.
I'll make a motion that we approve the ESC season go off of 25-26.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Hey Cheryl, would you mind signing that one just so I can keep it in the record?
Good question.
Yep.
Thank you.
Let me know.
We appreciate your time and dedication. Turn business owners and adjacent property owners in the Front Street Business District.
I'll go first, so everybody else can have a chance to talk. Some of you know me, my name is Mark Shaver. My wife Heather and I own 4 rental properties in downtown. We've committed our time, effort, and dollars into those properties over the past 12 years. We did this because it's our community. This is what we call home. With our first purchase for the rental property in 2012 of the old Helping Hands building, we knew we could contribute to maintaining a vibrant downtown. We completed a front street facelift and a responsible interior renovation of the second floor apartment. The recent effort of Joe Ryan, Art, and Pepperonis to beautify the Front Street district seemed to be in vain when, after turning the corner, you see a previously blue tarp vacant storefront full of trash, and across the street, vacant storefronts with broken windows. Not a very welcoming impression of downtown. For the past 8 months, we've noticed a significant increase in the amount of suspicious activity. This started with large volumes of foot traffic all hours of the day and night, with as many as 12 to 16 round trips between 2 Front Street rental properties. The effort shown by the owner on Friday afternoon appeared to be a start in resolving some of our concerns. Both of the aforementioned rental properties are owned by absentee landlords. Both properties appear to be in violation of multiple fire, building, zoning, and nuisance ordinances. Both properties have histories of criminal activities being committed by tenants, resulting in law enforcement intervention. We no longer feel safe on our own property. We've been cussed out, flipped off for simply looking in the direction of an individual walking in the street past our property. We've installed cameras, posted no trespassing signs to divert foot traffic and vehicle traffic across our properties in an effort to assist law enforcement. Recently, we've struggled to find a tenant for our newest 4th building project, but because of the noticeable activities, both prospective applicants have declined our efforts even after we offered them some incentives. I'd like to return to you all in about a month to listen to your course of action to correct the issues plaguing downtown Front Street corridor. Hopefully, those solutions will stop this decline before it's too late.
And where are the absent landlords at? Is that the,
Well, one lives in Warwell and the other one lives in Andrews.
and you say that those properties have violations of all different kinds and manners?
Oh, yes. I have a background in those fields, fire and building safety and zoning enforcement. So, yes, I can tell you that from standing on the sidewalk.
I mean, they're dumping garbage out the upstairs windows. They're running.
Are we talking about the apartments that are above?
Yep,
The grocery store used to be?
TLC. It's appalling. I've had people come in and sitting in the dining room and say, "What is going on?" I mean, I won't. Now it's winter. but I won't walk home. And I love my walk back and through to my place. It's not comfortable. When you have customers coming in from Michigan and all over the place because, they're hearing about your pizza place and then they look out the windows and they're like, what is going on? What, and you can't answer it.
Yeah.
I can't answer it. I don't know what's going on. I'm not in there, but we've been broke into 3 times. We've never once gotten any restitution from any of it. We are not seeing our police officers do a wonderful job, but I don't know when the last time, I don't know if they're still doing it or not, Paul. They're going and checking our doors. I just know that we're just uncomfortable. I was just telling Ellen tonight, I want to try to get some kind of and I'm sorry, Heather, but we need something in the alleyway there because it's pitch black and there's people there, they're trying to hide in the stairwell there. I'm just uncomfortable. I can't keep putting dead.
Well, I can attest to the fact that it's dark in that particular alley.
Yeah, I don't know if we can
Because
put just a motion
The
detector.
last time you were robbed, I couldn't see the
The 3
person.
characters that ran.
I couldn't see the third one in the alleyway because it was so dark in there.
Yeah, so we just said, we've got to do something. We love being where we're at. We love our peaceful town. That's why we came here, but it's really tough to try to explain to people that are coming in from other towns. Well, why should we? I don't, 3 weeks ago, the 3 young kids that I had mentioned were walking around with backpacks and they come and they jerked on my front door. Then they went around and came running up through the side, jerked the door open, screamed really loud. I had a gentleman in a wheelchair that just about fell out of his wheelchair because it scared the living shit out of him. It's just hard. I mean, it's not your guys' fault. I don't know. I guess I just would like to know that we can get more. I don't know, traffic. I don't know. Something's got to. Yeah, more, just to make all of us. We're all investing so much into our town.
Well, the security issue will go to Paul and his department. As far as building issues, now, I'm not sure where we stand with that, other than to notify county building inspectors.
Yeah,
and
they,
those kind of things.
the property owners won't let us in there. That's the issue there. And they're not gonna let you in there unless we have complaints from the people that actually live there. So the renters would have to make, well, I'm saying the renters have to make a complaint to us, and then the property owner has to give us permission to get in. That's the way they've always told me. So,
And what about fire code? What about fire code? Can you send a fire marshal to inspect?
I don't know if they'll let them in.
Wiring or anything?
I don't know if they'll let them in there. Still gotta have
I think
permission.
that's what Wolcottville is having some issues with too. Scott might know more, but I know that they've had a lot of issues with that.
Well, we can, if the one place you're talking about is on Front Street past Weston Street, that one I tried that with, I don't know if it was this owner or the last owner. They came in to get a building permit to upgrade the electrical. I said, we need to get in and inspect the rest of it. And he basically told me, no one's getting in there. So, I mean, I don't know unless we have a complaint. Dustin, what do you think?
Have any, didn't involve police, then you have search and seizure, Fourth Amendment problems without probable cause.
I echo the same concern of all other property owners. I'm Stan Rose, my wife Nancy, Karen Fox, Pat Fox, we together own the specialty house the old bank building. And we also have the concern of suspicious activity of individuals in that area. That's been going on for at least a year. And, yeah, we feel unsafe around our property also, just because of the state.
What
But-
properties are we talking about?
It's the old store.
The old-
And
We're hosting a barbecue.
116 Front Street,
yeah,
255 Front Street.
and I want to invite everybody in this room to tomorrow, anytime you want to go up there, go up, park in front of the building and walk up and look in the windows.
You can go out tonight. The lights, there's a light on all the time.
Now,
Drive by tonight. You can-
In 116,
Yep, I think
Yes.
Before the party on a Friday.
the charts are down.
I don't know what the laws are, but if you ask me, I think you have grounds, some kind of grounds of doing something about the bill that's in that building. It's-
It appears that way. You can look in the window.
That's why you have their kids garbage, like garbage you couldn't walk out.
well, maybe we can go to the health department.
It was outside.
That's what I'm thinking.
if there's nobody living in there, the health department won't do anything.
But
My understanding is they've been
Mark
kicked down.
suggest that you guys, whoever's in charge here,
Mhm.
call the police, contact your legal advisor for the town, and see if you can tell them that they have the 30, 60 days and clean that mess up, or you have a lien against the property.
Well, there
There's
there
gotta
have to be some kind of violation.
Well, go ahead and look in the window, you'll see the violation.
But-
Put it on the public sidewalk and look through the window.
But I'm not certain that we can control what people keep in their houses. They want to be order. I'm not sure that we.
What if, responding, making drugs.
All can't go kick down your door without probable cause. We got crime in.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I can tell you.
Our hands are
Because you mentioned something about, people having. This doesn't belong in the. This is brought in, their knowledge,
Well, the owners then should be.
so that, well, that's what I'm saying.
They're gonna let-
Is there a problem with reaching out to them and saying, here's what we're looking at, we'd like your cooperation, but we need to do something?
I mean, we can encourage anybody to do
This is all
anything. We
on
can't
Front
make
Street.
them.
I understand.
Two
I
55.
get that, I understand.
They don't want to take care of their own property.
And we can't force our way in.
Of course, I had a couple of thoughts about this because, so I'm Kim, I own Unleashed on Front Street. And I, as Mark and Heather, and Deb and Karen and Nancy, I have been observing suspicious activity for a couple of months. My cameras show people walking up and down the street all hours, from one property to the next, backpacks, carts, suspicious. That's all I can say. I will say that the people that, came to Dub's and, knocked on the door also came down to my place and kicked my can that's outside by my fence. We were outside talking to these individuals saying, what's your problem? Why do you need to come down and knock on a door and scare people and then try to break something? They did not break my can, but, kicked it. I've never seen them. We saw them at that time, probably 4 days in a row, backpacks going back and forth. I had some thoughts because from what I understand, the tarps had been on the place and the people who were in the bottom of this place did not have permission to be there. And from what I understand, the door had been unlocked this entire time. So there are a couple of thoughts that we had as business owners about this. One, we were wondering, could we get the business checks again? I haven't had any cards. I haven't seen anybody on the camera come, and check like in the evening, law enforcement to see, is the door open? Is anyone in there? Like they have been doing years before. It seems to me as though maybe if that was in place, someone would have opened that door and seen that it was unlocked and maybe looked at some of the disgusting things that were in there. We do have video of piles of stuff. I don't know what they are. I have no idea, but it's piles of stuff and it's different. People don't do that usually. The other thing is with businesses down in the commercial district, we can't have living on the ground floor. It is an ordinance that we cannot have living on the ground floor. There isn't a way that law enforcement or you as town officials can check on that if we have windows covered completely. So what we were thinking, and I was thinking, why don't we come up with an ordinance in the business district, in the commercial buildings? If there is a window facing the main road, one window has to be uncovered and visible from the street or the sidewalk. In this case, this could have been prevented. We went through months of all of us looking out our windows, being afraid to walk into our vehicles, worrying about our property when we're not there, checking all the pings on our cameras from all the activities. And it seems to me like if we would have had those two things in place, that we could have prevented this. And that maybe also we can prevent this from happening to other properties that are still vacant in Rome City in our commercial district. So I don't know what your thoughts are about that.
Possible to have an ordinance about pepper window?
I've never heard of such thing. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I don't know.
I have never heard of
Such an
any of that
ordinance.
kind of a thing.
Enforceability, I don't know.
I mean, that'd be like somebody telling you, if you live on the street side, you can't go to your grave.
I understand, but it could be just the commercial zoned businesses vacant or with a business in it in the commercial district. It doesn't have to be a residential owner occupied home. That was the second thought that we had. There are some out of town owners that the properties are not owner occupied. And those are around, downtown, those are on the lake. Would it be helpful if we had a directory as town of people who owned properties that were not owner occupied, so that if any of us neighbors see anything that's suspicious, we have a contact, or at least we can come to you and you have a contact and you can call someone and say, here's what got reported. This is strange. Are you okay with this? Do you want to check your property out? That was another thought that we had.
Have you been getting anything, Paul, from?
No. So, I'll tell you Friday. The owner brother who was doing maintenance for him went into the building, 116 Front Street. Opened the door, saw people inside. He called his sister-in-law or some other type of family relation who's involved in the ownership of the building, which is Best Deal Rentals LLC. They called the sheriff's department. We ended up out there. Long story short, the brother-in-law ended up coming back. He had left. He came back. He allowed us to go into the building. He called the owner of the property who's in Hawaii, and I talked to him on the phone. I found out that he had evicted the renter from the property about a month ago. So we got the building cleared out. We trespassed everybody that we know that's associated with being there from going back. We asked him to remove the tarps because with it being enclosed, we can't see in, nobody else can see in, and then you have a problem. So he took the tarps down and yeah, it's a mess. But as far as I know, he has resecured the building and nobody's living there. And we have criminally trespassed, 3 people so far from the property. And I know I got a phone call, today that, maybe there'll be another one that I'll trespass from the property. So.
So the tarps are down.
The tarps are down.
They were still trying to get in this morning.
So he's put up no trespassing signs in the windows. So I think they're trying to resolve the issue. He does have a bright light on inside. It's on all night long. We are doing extra patrols on that section. We still do business checks. We don't have the cards anymore. They're all gone. And sort of buying more business cards. Yeah, we are still doing business checks. So as far as people, walking up and down the street, any time of the day, as long as they're an adult, they have that legal right. There's nothing we can do to stop that. Regardless of how suspicious it may look. We can't interfere with people's civil rights, and otherwise we'll end up getting sued and paying insurance claims. So,
Paul, did the gentleman that came, his brother-in-law, did he make a comment that he's hopefully going to be cleaning that out in there so we don't have rats and mice?
that was part of what he was there for, was to do some work, I believe, on shutting off the water or doing something. So as far as I know, he had commented that that building was not high on their priority of properties
No kids.
to take care of.
Never has been.
It's
Go figure.
It's absolutely filled. It's still. Tell me if you want that kind of fill next year.
Well, we don't want that anywhere in our town. We don't. But if it's in the building, our hands are tied.
I want you to see it so you know we're concerned.
I pretty much look at it daily on the corner house. But that's the way they choose to live, and there's nothing I can do about that, even though it offends me. I don't think that they should have a pontoon park in their front yard. I don't think that they should have a broke down, horrible looking pickup truck that never moves sitting in their yard, but it's got a license plate on it. There's nothing I can do about it.
It hasn't moved in years.
9301.
Yeah,
Ordinance.
but it's
says
got a
you
plate
can't
on
do
it.
Those things.
It has a plate on it. There's nothing I can do.
Excuse me. I'm Caroline North, I'm Caroline Scottish. So in some ways, from that simple street, but I'm not. And I just want to say that my customers don't come from this area. They come from Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Indianapolis, they come up now. But the ones that come in from the west, east, north corridor come in with Google. And when they come in with Google, they go past Mary Mother of Mercy. They love it. They ask me, that is so beautiful. This town should be so proud of that. The lake is beautiful. I mean, when you come into this town from the north, this town is beautiful. And Google takes them down Front Street. And I am a recipient of many negative comments. And it's embarrassing. If we can make people cut their grass because it's too long, I'm not sure why we can't do some other things. I understand invading somebody's personal property, just busting doors and things like that, but. And there's snoopiness, like observing something that's been going on, like a car sitting there for 10 years, but there still has to be something. There's grass growing around a car. That's simplicity, and I realize what I'm saying seems simple, but we have a lot to be proud of. There has to be a way around this. It seems to me there has to be a way. And that place at 116, Harry Holsinger would be rolling over in his grave. He would be rolling over in his grave about the house on the corner too. It's just sad to me. It's very, very sad. There has to be a way.
The city of Goshen has a annual rental inspection by their ordinance. The inspector goes into the building.
You said Goshen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not too far from the Rome City.
Residential.
City of Goshen. City of Goshen or Elkhart?
City of Goshen. I know that inspector from years ago. That was his job.
We don't have somebody on the staff to do that necessarily, or if it's in the budget, but I could see what the code is.
One of my concerns with, Holsinger's old property is that, I personally have never seen anyone update the electrical in that. So, the lower part of it was at one point because they had, the dance studio and stuff in there. But the upstairs apartments were not. And they used to have the rag wire up there. And I know that when Nick and Tula, who had the old Dairy Point at the time, she told me that one of their ceiling lights was put in with an extension cord wire that was hooked up to the switch on the wall. And they don't use it. They just didn't use it. They put a lamp in the house. So on and so forth.
Here's my concern. When I saw things going the wrong way at the property, I went to the front door and there's a permit posted from Rome City. It had the owner's name and the owner's phone number. I texted him. I said, hey, you might want to know, these are the things that are going on at your property. He texted me back. He said, oh, I didn't know that. 2 weeks passed. I texted him again. I said, it's not getting any better. Here's what's going on. He responded with, I'm starting the eviction process. So my first question right here is, how many times did the town contact the individual who owns the property when they saw that things were going the wrong way? Hello? I don't hear anything.
I have previously talked to him several times, and he was not very pleasant to talk with. And we resolved the issue of people living in there previously back in 23.
Right.
So this has just been an ongoing thing with this owner. He is not checking on his people.
I think we probably could have avoided, just looking back on it, like in any situation where people mess up, all of us, whatever. Looking back on it, where could we have done things differently so that we can prevent this from happening again? Because there are more vacant properties in Rome City, and because there are many more of us that continue to invest in the properties that we do have and trying to make it look nice. So the tarp situation, the covered window situation, and having a directory of non-owner occupied, and maybe even looking into doing some kind of safety checks with non-owner occupied rental properties. Those seem like things that will help us to prevent getting into this situation again, where we feel like there's something not right. We're coming to you, but your hands are tied. if we have other things in place that people have to cooperate with because we decide as a town that this is the ordinance and this is what we agree on, just like the pet ordinance, we're supposed to have all of these things if we have pets, descriptions and photos of what is inside of our own house. If we come together and say that this is important to us, to make sure that buildings don't get in this condition and we don't have suspicious activity that scares people, what's wrong with that?
The suspicious activities coming from the environment. We're allowing these rundown places to be rented illegally over and over and over. This is the second time there's been people squatting in the bottom of that commercial building. I mean, as investment rental owners, we'd be glad to comply to an ordinance that says we need to let you know who is supposed to be at our rentals. We make sure our renters follow the ordinances. And so that there's no disturbance to the town. I mean, we keep up our rentals so they look nice and we get good background checks and good people.
I mean, if the owner doesn't care for their property or care who they rent to, it's hard for us to do much. We're much observe and report. Once we get a reporter and a complaint, we can do something. We don't have the ability
Would it
to
be possible
to
to
expect them
put a lien on the property until the property is clean?
if they're in violation of some nuisance or town code or.
Right, and then how can we get in there to check that out? That's what we're trying to get our heads.
Property with their permission.
Yes.
Comments, you're excellent. I'm gonna defer this more to Stan. If you drive by there and look at that, you talked about the electric on this, or if you drive by there and look at that tonight, if that isn't a fire hazard, I don't know what.
Yes, but there again, I'm
Somebody
saying,
breaks in, that's gonna go up flames.
but what I'm
Any of our
saying is,
businesses are gonna go.
you know, unless there's a complaint from someone, you know, a homeowner saying, you know, I don't think it's, you know, the wiring's good in this apartment that I'm renting.
So can we as homeowners in the area say, hey, we need you guys to go check it?
I don't know. You get a fire light
You could
now.
call welfare check.
I would encourage all of you to look at it. Tomorrow, tonight. You're gonna find that that old floor is littered with potential fire bombs.
And that's just what we can see.
Yeah.
That's not what you
There,
can.
yeah.
It's like it's all
Gas
flammable
can.
material,
Oh, yeah.
all flammable
Propane.
material in there.
Paint.
But I don't know that it's illegal.
Well, I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is we're dealing with individuals that if they try to get back in again, what's gonna prevent them from throwing something in the window to ignite that whole building?
Because they're already
I
ticked
mean, I
off
know,
that
I
they
know
can
we're,
get.
I know we're speculating, I know we're speculating here.
No. Hear what we can do.
And
We have laws that prevent, it's supposed to prevent a lot of things.
I understand what you're saying. I'm not new to this world,
We're
okay?
gonna look just like Bougainville pretty soon.
But, you know, what I'm saying is that there's potential hazard.
I'm just not sure what kind of a ordinance or what kind of limits we can put on. I really don't know.
Things for months and months about the pets, and I didn't even agree with all the ordinances that we came up. I am sure, and I honestly feel like some of the pet ordinances is a violation of my privacy and my right, because who cares what happens in my home with my pets? But you guys did it anyway. We all did it anyway, and they exist. The ordinances exist. So I can't believe that we can't come up with.
Oh, I can believe we can come up with something. I'm just saying that off the top of my head tonight, I can't tell you that we're gonna put together an ordinance for this, this, and this.
We're
It
just
won't
here
happen.
saying, this is enough. We gotta get our heads together and do something about it.
We are not saying that we want answers this minute.
None of
But
us.
none of us.
We understand what you're trying to say.
Respect that.
We hear what
We can work on it.
And that's all we want.
Yeah, that's all.
we appreciate you guys bringing this to me.
It's, like Heather said, whatever we come up with,
Rentals will comply with
whatever
whatever
we
we
need to, he's down there too, so. Whatever.
Yes, and those of you who are out there, you've done wonderful jobs with your places. They're beautiful. They're wonderful. The people who go to your businesses, enjoy them thoroughly. But what I'm saying is we have to find the legal framework.
That's our
You know, that's all we can do. And as for the safety issues, that's all.
Okay. Well, that's something. Yeah. Something.
See what we can do to make it fair.
And we can go forward with contacting the property owners who are neglecting their properties down there and see if we can get any further with them.
Sure.
What about the old Kennebec house that's sat up here?
I've been in the process working on that for a year. Every time I talk to him, he says, oh yeah, I'm getting somebody out there to do it. I gave him a quote from a guy that'll come in and do the work. Told him all he has to do is hire him. Nothing happened. Called him up. He said, well, my guy that's gonna do it broke his foot, so he can't do it. So then it snowed.
Well, the bad thing is, the building, the owner, and it doesn't let nice people come in and buy this building.
Well, they won't even sell
Oh,
them
they won't sell it.
because people
No,
have asked
We've
him
already-
numerous times.
we've already.
He will
asked
not sell
several
it.
times.
He lives in Florida.
He's in Florida, he doesn't care. It's just a write-off for him now.
Last summer, I just about myself.
Yeah.
He did cut the trees around the sign. That's all he did do after I sent him a letter.
You know, and at this point, we're to go back to residential from commercial. Maybe there's someone who would like for it to be a beautiful home again. You know, whatever, but he's not even considered selling it. No, it was a definite no. The tax write-off.
Paul, what assurance can you give these business owners? What actions are you gonna take? Your
Well,
team?
I've already established that the guys do extra patrols specifically for 112, 116 Front Street. So that will also cover all the other businesses right there as well. They're already doing business checks nightly when they work. You know, as far as
Heather, do you have-
people walking and
I mean, please speak up if you guys don't agree. We need to know. Okay.
November, there was 43 business checks.
Yeah, I was actually gonna recommend, you can get it from Staples for like $11 or something or two, so.
I can go pull their records and tell you exactly what businesses, but. So, I mean, we'll continue to do extra patrols and business checks. As far as people walking on the street, there's civil liberties. There's nothing we can do to infringe on people's rights. If it's not a juvenile that falls into, age restrictions, on what time they can be out, there's nothing we can do about that.
It is. It's juvenile.
Well,
Past the allotted hour.
when you're saying juvenile, then it's nobody. It'd have to be somebody that lives
Maybe on
there.
the corner, maybe on the
Maybe
corner,
on,
maybe
yeah.
on the corner, I'm pretty sure, and they go down by the dam. They run it down there in cars also.
Well,
They run down in their pajamas down, clear down Front Street.
They walk with buckets, but they're
3
not
o'clock in the
fishing
morning.
boats, but they're fishing.
The guys are out till 4. Okay, so they've not come across anybody that time of day for ordinance violation for age restrictions. Okay, not for curfew.
And I'm not seeing anybody on my side. The backside of your businesses, from my end. I'm not seeing anybody in the alleyways. At the library area, liquor store area. I'm just not.
What is curfew? And what's the age?
So 18 and older is an adult. So there is no curfew there. So it impacts 17 and below. And it's across the board for school hours. Doesn't matter if it's summer, winter, school break, whatever. Time frames are the same. So it's 15 and below, I believe. Don't quote me. I'm trying to take this off the top of my head. It's 15 and below is, I think 8 PM every day of the week. Above between 15 and 17 is 10 PM. If they're with an adult, they're fine.
Right.
So.
So if you got two 15-year-olds with an 18-year-old, they're okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
All I can tell you is this, we'll do our best to see what we can come up with.
That's all we want. And we appreciate you hearing us and our concerns.
Thank you.
We want to be proud of this town.
Well, if it's your concern, it's our concern,
Thank you.
truly, because we're all in this together. You know, it doesn't, people come in from out of town, you don't want to think, she lives in the dump,
We take pride in our business district, in our area.
Yeah. It would just be great if we could get those people, who are owning and neglecting their property to go ahead and sell them, give them to somebody else who would like to have it, to do something with.
That's the way it is. It just brings criminal
Nothing else, just
and
tear it
nuisance.
down.
I don't, Karen and I have dealt with that for years. In the apartment. We dealt with all that because the guy was absentee owner. When you have the absentee owners, you have all these issues.
Yes, because they don't care. It's just bringing in the money.
Yeah, I don't know how many times Paul had does it. They had a guy that was shot to death on that one.
And that's a lot of extra work for you guys. We appreciate what you do also.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk to the brother-in-law and ask him to put the tarps back up, but
No,
I
Part
don't
of-
think we want it
part of
cleaned up.
having to take the tarps down is to
great.
make sure that nobody was in there and they could actually see. So,
Mhm.
yes, it unveiled all the nastiness.
But at least we know that there's not somebody in there doing garbage. And I would personally being straight across the street, seeing it, I'd rather see their junk than not know what's going on behind
Yes.
closed doors.
Correct.
I personally, I don't like what I see in there, but I prefer what I see in there to see what's in there. I can see if somebody's sneaking around or, so thank you for having them take the tarps down.
That's my whole point about maybe some kind of ordinance. When I first started the pet salon, at night, I was closing the windows and like putting all the lights off. And my husband is a reserve police officer in Shipshawana. He said, "Why are you doing that?" I said, "Because I don't want anybody to see what I have in there." And he goes, "No, that's not what you do. Leave the windows open, turn the lights on, because the cops coming by can see if there's anybody in there doing anything they're not supposed to." And I didn't think about it. So that's one of the reasons why I'm bringing that up. It's very easy when they're on their patrols at night. If we have a window that's open and we decide that we want to leave the lights on, not that that has to be some kind of ordinance, but if we have a window that's open and we do leave the light on, it's very easy for them to go by and go, "Okay, there's no one in there. Nothing looks funny. I don't have to call Kim. I don't have, everything looks fine."
You don't have anything to hide.
Yeah, I have nothing to hide. None of us do that are here either.
I find, I can't do that. But I'm not there and I see things in the alley all the time. I do see stuff. I've seen. It's just sad. That's all I'll say. And I see it coming down Weston Street too. But I think that it is an endangerment to our officers. It's an endangerment. The citizens in general. Cheryl, for years, right there beside me, I had a mess.
Yes.
We found junk in the bushes and beautiful pipes and hand carved marijuana stuff and. Out in-
And a neglected husky. Let's not forget our neglected husky.
Oh, yeah, so there are a lot of things going on, so I'm not immune to this. It happens. I want everybody to be safe. And I guess that's where I'm coming at things. There are evenings when we're up here working in the gardens and stuff, it's quiet. This town is lovely. It has everything off of it. And I'd like to see it stay that way.
An angle that could be approached is the local fire chief does have the right to ask to do a pre-plan of commercial buildings. What he's doing is asking the owner if he can enter the building in order to know the layout of the building, that in the event of a fire, he and his command structure know what the layout is, so that when it's full of smoke, they can direct people in the right direction. The owner can say no, but he might say yes.
If you're using that, as a means of deceit to get into the building to do an inspection, to address other things, that's gonna end up, I mean, it's the township, not Rome City, but that's gonna end up in a lawsuit.
Well, he can write violations.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that's a slippery slope.
Well, I think it might let the owner know that
They might at least get in there. If they
People
think
are
he's coming
watching.
in, they might go in and clean out some of it, maybe. I mean, hell, if it was my building and someone was coming and I had something I wasn't supposed to have, I can guarantee you.
Yeah, you clean up like, your mom's coming over, you gotta hurry, run through the house, clean everything up.
Hey, I used to do that.
All I can tell you is we'll just do our best to look into it further.
Well, at least we're all on the same page.
Got our legal guys here, we will.
We have an ordinance for Airbnbs, why can't we have an ordinance for rentals to keep them respectful? And get good people and not.
I personally agree, but I need to do it legally.
Yeah, right. Sure.
we're not suggesting you do anything illegal.
No.
There are days I would like to.
Well, I think all of us.
Yeah, I probably might have to come to the
We're asking what can be done.
Yeah. We'll move on. Over asphalt resurface, tennis, pickleball course, whatever. Billing for that.
Yeah, this is a second bill that we received for the pavement.
So, yeah, they did the asphalt part of it. So I'm not sure if that's what is on there. And then the second billing will be for I can't talk, striping and the painting of the lines. So that we want to encumber to next year because they did not have enough time to do that work this fall. So we just need permission to encumber that 23,500 to next spring.
You need a motion for that, or just need you to find that?
I don't know. Do we need a motion on encumberment? Yeah, might as well.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
And the good news about that is that they can fit in 4 pickleball courts and then they're gonna do the 1 tennis court. So we originally thought we were gonna have 2 pickleball courts and a tennis court, but we're gonna have 4. 2 pickleball courts and a tennis court.
ADA path in Grant Park. $16,750. And fencing at the tennis court.
Yes, and I've got a couple other things to add on that. This is money that the park board has currently for this year, but we didn't have time to spend it all. So I talked to Pulver Asphalt about putting in a pathway to the dog park from parking lot, because that is something that people have been requesting, and we do need to do it for ADA purposes. So that's what the 16,750 is for. That would be Lakeside Park. And then also in Lakeside Park, we want to get another bench with the cover on top. That's like the bench that we put in the large dog area. We want to put one in the small dog area. And then also do fencing. We have to put additional fencing in on the tennis court. And also we want to purchase fence to fence off the small dog area at Lakeside. So the fencing amount, that's what that is for the tennis court and for the small dog area. And then I also contacted the people that we purchased the mulch from for Lakeside. So we put in the play equipment structure, but there's still the 2 swing sets and the what is that? The merry-go-round that do not have the mulch around it. So knowing we need to do that anyway, and we have money left over, I asked them to give me a quote. So that's around $4,000. So if we could just get an approval to do an encumberment on the fence, the bench, the mulch, and the walkway, then that money will be saved to next year.
Motion for the encumbrance.
And the fencing, and then the mulch and
The bench.
the bench. You don't need to do the dollar amounts, just say what the items are.
Kelly Park.
So Kelly Park would be fencing for the tennis court. It's actually 3 of the parks. So Kelly, Lakeside, and Grant. So Grant is fencing and the walkway, Lakeside's for the mulch, and then the bench is for Grant. And part of the fence is for Kelly. We need more parks.
For the fencing at Kelly and Grant and the mulch at Lake.
Correct.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Ordinance number 2025-07, no parking in the cul-de-sac on Hilltop Drive.
Okay, so this came to me because we had that first snowfall, and on the west cul-de-sac, the guys could not plow the snow because people were parking it all up. So since there's a cul-de-sac on each end, I just decided to do the no parking for both sections. So that when they park there again, we can just tow them.
Motion for that.
Is that all the time or just?
And no parking anytime,
Okay.
because the school bus has to get back there. If not the school bus, then Noble County Disposal, because we did get a call from them. Said, not going down there, you can't turn around. So
That's only 2 runs.
we don't have a problem on the east end. At least I've never had any complaints from that end. But I think too, it's open.
And they have driveways where the one on the west end doesn't have driveway.
Second.
All in favor?
Cheryl, could I get
It's sure
that
it's not wide.
Culver
Make a motion. It makes sense.
one back?
We want the Culver one.
I think it's the one right underneath your left hand, the paper right underneath that one. Yes.
This one?
Yeah. Thank you.
Do we have the spending plan there?
2026 redevelopment TIF annual spending.
Okay, this is required by the state of Indiana that we do. It's a small quasi budget for the redevelopment group. And it's pretty generic. Not in here. So we just did it's pretty generic. We know we have $10,000 that we pay towards the street building, so that's in there. I think we had $50,000. I should just go grab it because I'm not gonna remember it off the top of my head because you don't have the copy. So if you wanna move on to the next one, and I'll grab it.
Yes,
6.
no, number
No,
6 is
she's-
redevelopment. She's gone to get the papers. Watershed agreement, 26 to 2029.
I'll try and highlight this. The current watershed agreement is expiring, in February of 2026. So we have, submitted a new agreement for 2026 to 2029 for, Red Sea, which is Fruition Industry, Momentum Properties, Stag Real Estate, which is Aggregate, LD Farms, LLC, and Orange Township Fire Department. So we have submitted those to the new agreement there are now 5 entities instead of 4.
Four. Well, 4 and then the fire
Yeah.
department.
But attached is also the annual statement for our beginning balances and what has been paid through 2025 in our ending balance as well. So that the council would just need to sign the agreement that we agree to continue this agreement. The only thing that was changed was we reduced the annual payment per entity to $3,000 from $4,000 because we added one more.
All in favor?
Okay, and I'll go back to the redevelopment spending plan. So we had the $10,000 on the street garage debt. Capital expenditures, we just put in $100,000. Not that we have this money. This is just a budget. So if we would get some money, we could spend it. The other items are professional expenses of $1,000, and that covers, the county has a company figure out what the TIF distribution is, so we have to pay that back to the county. $450,000 we could spend if by some chance we would get a grant in that amount, and then other anticipated expenditures of $50,000. For a total of $611,000. And we just need your approval on this spending plan. So we have something in the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye. Liability waiver for firearms range for Wilkerville's use.
Well, apparently, they're telling me attorney sent it to Bill.
Okay.
Talked to you about it, yeah, but they did use it all. 2025, only one of their guys, I think did some stuff with us in 2024, so, it's liability waiver that we do with them every year. Generally, they don't use it, but apparently it's something that they wanted to have available.
Sand and salt and good civil.
Do we need to make a motion to agree for them to use this?
For the rain.
For Walkerville.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Salt and sand for Walkerville?
Yeah, last week. Scott and I had received a call from Walkerville asking if we could come down and salt and sand their roads because it was like sheets of ice down there. So I'd sent the email out to you to let you know that we were gonna do that. Then we figured up what the dollar amount of our cost to go down there, gas, the guy's time, the amount of salt and sand that we put down for reimbursement. I think it was $350.
It was right around, because I know the salt and sand was 2.
Yeah, it's around $350. I mean, it took them, what, less than an hour, Scott, 2 guys? Yeah.
No, actually about 45 minutes, but you don't found that there were 2 of them. 2 trucks.
Yeah, so they only have the 1-ton dump truck and evidently they were not getting any salt from whoever they were purchasing their stuff from. And if you don't put salt on it, when we have temperatures like this, it's never gonna melt.
No.
So we did it one time.
We sell them salt or is this? something
Well,
I did?
I said to him, I said, this isn't gonna be a continual thing because we don't have time to do that, but we have a salt distribution coming up that we have to take. And I had told them that if they're interested, we can figure out what that would be and sell it to them. Cause I don't want to sell them the sand and the salt together because that's labor that we've expended to mix it all up and I don't want to do that. So if they want some salt, they're more than happy. They can come get some, we'll charge them for it, but I haven't heard back.
I do know, I did make the call today. We have 100,000 or 100 tons that we can take. We have 100 tons we can take. It's like $100 and something a ton for this portion. And it'll take about 10 days for them to deliver it to us.
I don't, is that the full amount or we're gonna take
If we did
80%?
like-
Cause we only do 80%, right?
Correct.
So we may just take 80% right now. How much? Anyway, we can talk about that later, but I just wanted to let you know, and I would like an emotion for your approval to do that retroactively, so that
Let me ask you this, so how much did it cost us to do all that for them?
it's like they're around $350.
So we charged them 700?
Well, I was just gonna charge them the amount that it was since they're in a local town
Nothing's free.
near us. No, I know, but
Plus your wear and tear.
kind of,
As long as it's.
I agree. Yeah.
As long as we're not doing.
You know, they're having a hard time up there.
Yeah.
They got a lot of things going on.
Their water main break was in.
2 water main breaks
Oh.
in the last week. So yeah, they had that going on and then the issue with the road, so.
Sign the title release for the total Ford Ranger.
She needs.
Need the motion.
So we're just gonna charge them $350? Yeah, we'll charge them cost.
Cost.
I don't agree with that. You would have known us a bit. 750. Have you already told them a cost?
I think we did, yes.
She's already told them a cost. No, Jerry would.
I think we did, yes.
Gary make a motion to, charge booking bill $250. I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving forward, I guess what Kurt's trying to say is you'd like.
We told him it would be a one-time
Okay.
situation.
Okay. Thank you.
Sign title and release for total Ford.
So there are 3 different papers to sign. This one, just need your name, phone number. If you want to use the town hall's phone number, you can, and then your signature and title. This one just needs a signature for the mileage. And then this one is the back of the title that needs completed. And then one is the back of the title. Yes, your name just needs to go on the first line. And then you'll have to sign it and put your, like, town council president.
Discussion regarding new fleet vehicle with Austin Chandler via conference call.
So, Austin works for GM. And he's gonna be able to answer some of your questions and kind of tell you a little bit about the Chevy electric vehicle, Blazer. I've got, I don't know if you guys have copies or not.
Yeah, I gave him a copy of all the things you
So you have the Kelly and then Shepherd's quotes for that vehicle. And then Jordan Ford and Max Black quotes on a Ford Explorer hybrid. And the reason I went with the hybrid is because it's a standard option now. The cost of that, along with the difference, the only one that was more expensive was the turbo. The 300 turbo was like $2,700. The other standard engine was the same price as the hybrid. So, I'll put Jordan on and we can kind of go over Jordan, or I'm sorry, Chandler. Okay. Hey, Austin, this is Paul. So I've got the board here in front of me. I have Cheryl Clifton, our board president, Kurt Klein, board member, vice president, and Ken Cook, who's also board member. So if you want to kind of go over the Chevy Blazer with them and then answer any questions they may have.
Sure. Yeah. Well, pleasure to virtually meet you guys, and thanks for having me and allowing me to jump on this evening. In talking with Paul, I thought this might be an easy way to answer questions and kind of walk through the vehicle. Just a quick introduction. I'm Austin Chandler. I'm the government sales manager for the Midwest region of General Motors Corporate. So any municipality, state entity, etc., that covers within that territory of mine, they all go through myself when it comes to government vehicles regarding anything police, fire, Department of Public Works, water, you name it. Been in and out of the fleet business, both from an electrification standpoint and an internal combustion engine standpoint for about 15 years. I started my career at Cummins, was there for a little over 7 years. Then went to private equity in the electrical and power generation space, where we acquired a bunch of electrical contractors that ended up, and that's where I dabbled in the EV game at first. We acquired a handful of contractors that were installers for charging stations. all over the southeast of the United States and of the East Coast. And really get to know the business there. And then once myself and the partners, we sold the fund and sold the firm, I exited. I was brought on to General Motors to help build out our commercial energy infrastructure side. And then an opportunity on our fleet business in the government sector, both for internal combustion and electric vehicle engines. Our motor and powertrains came available to be the person to lead that sector for us. So definitely see the world from both lenses. I'm not for or against either one of them, but I try to, when it comes to electric vehicles, I try to see where they make sense. The discussion for me is primarily it's all black and red. There's no blue and red to this. There's no, for me, it's by the numbers. Sustainability is great in some aspects of the world, but quite frankly, I try to stick to as much of the numbers as I can on these. And that's where Paul and I kind of had our kickoff conversation when Paul sent in an inquiry. And we talked to the vehicle, and then you guys got to take it for a little while and test it and drive it and demo it, which I loved, and love that you guys got to do. And here we are this evening. So I know that was a little long-winded, but I don't have a per se presentation I would want to give. More or less, I have some data, I have some things here, but I more want to hear from you all. What are the concerns? What are the questions? What's the anxieties? What's the heartburns? All of that. And I would say let's address those things if possible. Is that okay with you guys?
That'd be fine, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I will let you guys start, and if there's a list, a long list, short list, and then I think it'll coincide to a handful of the data points I have. I've worked with Paul to get some data on your vehicles and what you guys are doing currently, but I can kind of tie this in as we go down that path. You guys tell me.
Any questions?
I don't, but well, if you could explain what the warranty is, including the battery warranty for the town council.
Yeah, so
Because
on
it's a-
all EVs at General Motors, our battery and propulsion, which is the drive motors on the batteries, equivalent to that, it would be, it's on an ICE vehicle, it's a transmission, right? That is 8 years or 100,000 miles. And given the mileage that you guys are currently putting on these vehicles now, you'll approach almost 7 years under these vehicle circumstance before that warranty would run out on you. You'll hit the 100,000 before the 8 years, but by 1 year, you'll beat it. So it's 100,000 miles and 8 years of warranty. And one thing Paul told me earlier that battery changes were a concern cost for you guys. Obviously, if it's within that warranty period, you're not paying for anything. We're replacing that. But our battery technology has changed dramatically since the first set of EVs have hit the marketplace. You know what the biggest anxiety factor in batteries with everyone was? The first sets of batteries that were single battery frames on single battery rails and having to be replaced. That's where you saw the news channels and everybody else take off and, oh, look, this is $30,000, $25,000 to replace a battery. Our battery technology isn't like that anymore. So how our battery technology is set up on the Ultium platform is they are modular packs. So depending on the size of the battery and the size of the vehicle is depending on the modular size of the battery. So in this case, for the Blazer EV PPV, it's what we call a 12 mod battery setup. And each of those modules internally has 24 cells in them, and they're all individually operating and then tied into a single battery frame. But if one of those modules goes bad, we don't have to replace the whole battery. We just have to replace one module. And give or take today, if you were to pay for it right now, it's about $1,800 to replace one module. But again, for the next 7 years, that battery's under warranty. And battery costs and things like that are going to change dramatically in 7 years. These are already getting cheaper than they used to be. One modular used to be somewhere in the neighborhood of about $4,600, and they're already down to $2,000. So we're getting smarter. We're making them smarter. A lot of the new modular packs are going to be made in northern Indiana, New Carlisle. It's where our battery plant's going, right next to the Amazon data center or across from it. So a lot of them will come out of there or Tennessee. So they're going to be in the USA and made here and done here. And it's a partnership with Panasonic on our new technology that we're doing today. So even if at the end of the day, in 7 years, if all the modules went out at once, you're looking at about $20,000 to $22,000, 24 grand to change them on. But that's very rare and unlikely that that would happen. That they'd all go at one time.
Yeah. Or do you have a question? What's up?
So I researched everything online.
Okay.
I did too. I really don't have any questions.
Yep.
I've already done the research on the product. But I thank you for your time and trouble.
Yeah, if I can give you guys really quick, just some comparisons I ran for your fleet by the numbers. And I've compared this to Ford. I have a great counterpart at Ford that I've, gotten to know very well. And we do a lot of cross collaboration with each other. You guys on these vehicles, you put about 14,740 miles driving on your police cars a year. Your idle hours and idle mileage is about 35,640 miles equivalent. Every hour you guys sit idle is 33 miles equivalent on a Ford PIU. And so a combined total of about 50,380 miles is put on the engine for a Ford PIU or a Ford hybrid electric vehicle a year. And with that, the burn rate of those is about 16 to 17 mile a gallon on a Ford PIU ICE and 24 miles per gallon on the hybrid electric vehicle. That equivocates out on the ICE vehicle to about $8,974 in fuel spend a year, and that's given today's price of $2.85 a gallon in Kendallville that I looked up. If you go to the hybrid, it's just over 6,000 a year, 6,061. For your electricity bill, and I talked to NIPSCO today, you guys pay a rate of 21 cents a kilowatt hour, just shy of that actually. The Blazer EV does an equivalent of driving miles of 14,740, like your ICE vehicles, but your idle hours and your idle mileage drops to 2,916 when you drive an EV. Because when you sit idle in an EV, you're burning a kilowatt an hour, roughly, or less, depending on what you're doing. Because all your upfits, your computers, everything that are in that run off of an entirely different 12-volt battery system. They don't run off the main battery while you're driving. So that equivocates out to about 6,440 kilowatts in total you would use on these police vehicles. Now I'm going off of duty hours, by the way. But that, if I compare that to the cost of what you're paying in electricity in Rome City, that's $1,352.40 a year it would cost you to fill this car up for an entire year. That's fueling. If I drop that down to maintenance, that's the other moneymaker in EVs. A Ford, and this is Ford's data, the average maintenance is $1,140 a year on a PIU. That's just maintenance, that's consumables. That's not including major repair. And that's $3,430 over a 3-year span. And a hybrid is the same. Their maintenance costs when Ford does it, they're identical. And the Blazer EV, I'm equivocating out to about $1,950. The primary, what I'm putting in that 3-year run is tires and brakes. At least a set and a half of tires and 1 set of brakes will be changed in that 3-year span, in my eyes. That's really your 2 big ticket maintenance items on an EV. There's no filters, there's no oil, there's no nothing. With that, I even equivocated out a charger installation. You guys, I know, have a little bit different of a situation. Is you have somebody in the garage that has electrician background and has ideas of how to install these. I'm pricing this as if our installer base and buying this charger from us and our installer base would come out and do it. An 11.5 kilowatt charger would be about $2,500, and that's on the high end. A 19.2 would be about $3,000. That's also on the higher end for this, and majority of that is the charger cost itself. When I look at the cost in fueling difference a year between the hybrid or the ICE, I'm doing the hybrid in this case. The EV is saving you about $4,709.55 a car a year in fuel. So you'll pay for your charger in about the first 6 months of having this car, or more, or sooner. If you got somebody to do the work for you, that takes a dramatic amount of this cost, and you don't have to buy GM chargers. You can call an electrical contractor local and see what they have. That's not mandatory, but it's an option, and it can be something that's ordered on the car when you buy the car as an RPO code. So overarchingly, my last point of this is I did an 8-year projection with not depreciation in this, but a total cost of ownership over 8 years between a Ford PAU, hybrid electric vehicle, and a Blazer EV PPV. And over an 8-year span, it's about $127,739 for a Ford ICE PAU. For an HEV, it's $102,443. And for a Blazer EV PPV, it's $64,519.85. And that's taking a starting MSRP for the Ford at $46,800 for the ICE, $44,800 for the hybrid, and $45,500, which is our starting MSRP of the Blazer. And that's adding in maintenance over the 8 years, fuel costs, and then I put the charger costs even on the Blazer. Even if you have to replace an entire battery, I put in a buffer in there. If you added another $24,000, that still makes it $88,519.85, which is still about 20% cheaper than the hybrid over the course of an 8-year span. So by the numbers and just given the amount that your officers drive on a daily basis, the EV is a vehicle that makes sense in the long term of it. And we're seeing agencies that do the exact mileage you guys do, the exact way you manage it, switch to this thing hand over fist because of that. And in Indiana, Senate Bill 1 has become a big fire starter for Indiana agencies looking at this as well.
Okay.
So I'm happy to answer their questions. My email is always open. My phone number wide open. Paul, you're happy to give that out to everybody in the room if you'd like. I have no problem with that at all. This is, just strictly by the data. So I have no problem talking to anybody.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that's part of my push toward that vehicle. I realize it's about $3,000 more than another Ford, but when I went back and I looked at from 2017 to when the vehicle got totaled, how many gallons of gas we put into it, and we put in roughly 7,720.99 gallons of gas through that truck. If you take that times, whatever the price has been, a low of $2.22, a high of $3, whatever the case may be, somewhere roughly $22,000 just in gas for that car. And it doesn't include the repairs that have had to have been done on it, oil changes and the other maintenance issues. So that's part of the reason why I'm pushing toward the EV. But I've got quotes for 2 different cars for you to look at and make your decisions.
We thank you, Paul. Town manager's report.
I had 7 meetings for the month. We had 4 building permits issued in November, 1 electrical, 1 modular home out in the county, 1 house addition, and 1 deck repair. Planning Commission did not meet. BZA had 2 variances. 1 was on Lakeside for lake yard setback and side yard setback to expand a deck, and that was approved. The other one was on North Shore to build a barn, and that was approved. The Swaney settlement, we're still waiting on Mr. Swaney to comply with the agreement to let us in the garage and move the utilities to the other side of the house. The appeal for Larry Weisenberger, that hearing date has been set for April 6th. I typed the agendas, the minutes, the legals, the notice to interest parties, and finding of fact sheets for BZA. The Conservancy District paid bills, balance books posted Gateway. Their year-end meeting is Wednesday at 5:30. Park Board typed the agenda in the minutes. We talked about the tennis courts already. bike trail update. I'm finishing up purchasing the rest of the items to spend that $28,000. Noble Trails is working on the trail from 900 to the Gene Stratton Porter section. Also, they continue to work on the Avila section and then to get to LaGrange County line. Trail maintenance is on hold until spring. The chamber has their 35th chamber celebration, and that's this Thursday at Sylvan Cellars. The tickets are $10. If anyone is interested, I'll send you the link. It's just like hors d'oeuvres, and we have some nonprofits that'll be there, letting people know what they have to offer, and just a little discussion about what the chamber has done in the last 35 years. Corey Bowen is going to paint the town buffalo as soon as we can get it thawed out enough to get it to a shop. I should have moved it, but I didn't know we were getting this cold weather this quick. The work on the watershed plant, both roofs were replaced and they fixed the exterior block, and then the guys painted it. And as you know, we're working on the contract renewal. Limberlost Landing, Dustin and I are working on the annexation, and we working on the agreement so that the sewer line extension can be taken over by the town. Reviewed surveys and plans for building permits, and then the video store cleanup. I already talked about that. Town was denied the 2026 community crossing grant to repave Pleasant Point, West Pleasant Point in 2026. So I'll reapply and hopefully we can get that done in 27. Sent out the bill to Limberlost Landing for their last portion of the sewer installation project, and they paid that. I put paid in full, but it's paid in full. I took the water samples for the street department and the town and sent those to IDEM, redevelopment commission agenda, and then the capital spending plan, and typed the minutes for that. And then the Indiana Pump Works completed lift station 4D. That was that $118,000 project we approved. They started it like the third week of November, and they finished it up right before Thanksgiving. So that is completed. And that's the end of my report. Unless you have questions.
My name is Mark. We had 955,238 gallons on that. And the effluent, we had 6,442,295 gallons. On 11/22 this month, it actually stopped moving, so we shut that down. So we're done discharging. Call-offs, we had 6 call-offs, 5 of them being for Fanning and Pine Road. We sold no lift station pump or grinder this month, had 36 locations. For the month of what we did, really didn't, I mean, we did a lot, but it was mainly leaks, and then we directly no. That's pretty much the majority of the month. That's, you know, picking up the leaves, plowing alley, town hall, roads, stuff like that. One thing Lee was talking about, we was curious about what the town spent for leaf pickup. I figured that out, and just curiosity, cost 17,800 minimum, up to around 20,000 a year for leaf pickup. As long as we don't have no major equipment.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to have that cost of between 17,000 and 20,000 for rate pickup, for leaf pickup, published on our Facebook so that the residents know what the town is paying for that service. And hopefully more of them will use it. Yeah. Yeah. You guys do a really great job. No.
No, before we got them all up.
Yeah, but you guys really do a great job. You do.
It's definitely appreciated.
They went back in their yards.
Hey, Paul?
Vehicle mileage, squad one, 749 miles, squad two. No miles, that car's going. Squad three, 564, and squad four, 1,171. Hours worked, I worked 64 hours for the month. Dustin, 142, Daniel, 187, part-time, 21 and a half, and reserves, 24. Time ordinance violations, we had the two abandoned vehicles that I talked about. We're both dealt with. Officer initiated events, we had 43 business attacks, assisted other departments 10 times. One extra patrol, 85 park security checks, and 7 community policing events. Traffic violations, 3 tickets were written and 26 written warnings. Other events, 3 VIN checks. Complaints, 1 juvenile complaint, 4 miscellaneous complaints. 3 suspicious vehicle, 1 suspicious activity, 1 disabled vehicle, 1 welfare check, 1 family fight or disturbance, 2 accidents, 6 medic assists, 2 911 calls, 5 driving complaints, 3 citizen assists, 1 mental health complaint. We had 1 case that was opened for theft. And meetings attended. Drug-free Noble County Justice and Prevention Committee meeting, town council meeting, training council meeting, police prosecutors meeting, and chiefs meeting. Training attended or conducted. We did a low light night qualification. Daniel and Rich went to an AR-15, M16 AR-15 armors course. And then we did defensive tactics training, which included 6 Albion officers. And then special events activities, funeral escort for Dustin's nephew. And then Daniel received a Servant's Heart Award from the American Legion Auxiliary. And of course, the letter that I did for ordinance violations that went out with the for incidences in town, our agency in August 210, September 163, November 159, and I'm sorry, October was 159, November 126. August outside of town 102, September 104, October 107, and November 77. The sheriff's department had in town in August 32 incidences, September 34, October 28, and November 26. And those are listed there as to what they were. And then outside of town in August, they had 60 incidences, 55 in September, 65 in October, and 74 in October. The feed sign summary report for November, which is still on Front Street, facing for traffic coming eastbound into town. Minimum speed was 5 miles an hour, maximum speed 81 miles an hour. Average volume per day is 578.2. Total volume of traffic 17,345.
It doesn't seem to be slowing them down much.
That, I was gonna ask, what's the purpose of this survey?
This kind of gives you an understanding of how many cars are on the street. On the back, it'll show you, it gives you a breakdown by hour. And it's more for our benefit, more so than yours, but.
Are you guys spending some time? It looks like 1,400 to, was it 14 to 1,300?
Yeah, so we have the average number of vehicles, during those time slots. That breaks it down. Then as far as so like the max speed was 81 miles per hour. That happened sometime between 6 and 7 PM in that time block. What day of the week by this report, I couldn't tell you. But, it kind of gives you an idea of what the majority of your violators are.
You guys try to spend some time out there? What's that? Okay,
Good. Keep doing it.
yeah, keep going.
Fire personnel. Yeah.
But I don't do the 5
Paul?
Click clock, click clock.
Oh, those two, yeah.
One's a crappy red car and one's a pickup.
With a loud muffler.
You're right.
We can hear him coming from a couple blocks off.
Got it. As soon as he turns off at 9, he's flooring it.
We have town fund presented for payment, 252,524 and 7 cents. Sewer operating, 180,367 and 87 cents.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Our next town council meeting will be January 12th at 6:30. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays. Stay warm.
To get that electrical vehicle, I would donate some labor install. We got. I assume the meters
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, thank you.
If he does.
Yeah, thank you. Heidi, can you